Hey, welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm Sal Interdonado here with two Army football grads, Adrian Kalam and Jim Zopoulos. We're going to discuss what a win for Army, a 10-7 win over Air Force. And normally you think that, 10-7 games aren't exciting, aren't thrilling. But this one, I mean, had just about everything in it, except maybe an Army completed pass that went for positive yardage, right? So first off, let's just get right into it, guys. Just the way the last couple minutes unfolded there. I mean, a really game changer was the Jabari Moore interception. I mean, you talk about that play to juggle the pick in the end zone, and that gets Army started. And I think we got our Army grinded out drive at the end, didn't we?
Definitely, it was a classic Army win. And again, that defense has just been consistent throughout the year, and it showed up again this season. And then offense, took over, and Big Buchanan he punched it in at the very end. So it was a satisfying win all around with good old classic slugfest football.
And I think to your point, though, I think the biggest thing is it seemed like Air Force pressed when they didn't really have to. This was their second effective drive of the second half where they moved the ball, they kept going, and then this is the second mistake by Daniels to throw it deep into center field. And the one thing that Air Force was very effective about, they ran that really good post corner route, find that soft spot in, right behind the soft corner, cover two. And what happened was he threw into coverage again. So he made two critical errors. And I think that interception really was self-induced, not necessary, and really set us up for a total shift in momentum when we needed it. And then that long drive to cap it off.
Man, you look at all the things that Army had, I guess you could say, overcome in this game, right? I mean, at the start, you hear Ross Tucker on the TV broadcast say that Army had 50 guys that weren't going to dress this today. Now, were they 50 guys that were going to get into the game? No, not all 50 were going to get into the game, but there were some guys missing. I'm trying to think of guys that were, key. Brahim Murphy didn't play. He's a second string slot back. There were a couple wide receivers that we didn't see again. We didn't see Cam Harrison again. So it seemed like they had all the quarterbacks handy, but they have to overcome that. And then Tahir Tyler gets knocked out of the game,
right.
And then Sandon McCoy's ankle maybe strained his ankle, pulled his ankle. So then, you're already down. Oh, Cade Bernard didn't play. Anthony Atkins didn't play. So you're down to Jabari Buchanan. I was just going to look it up. 21 carries has got to be his career high, and it's got to be, and what I think he had to have like 7 carries maybe in that last drive, 7 out of the 16, maybe even 8 out of the 16. I know that Anderson had 5. So, I mean, you just like, you look at this team all year long, and it just seems like they always have an answer. It seems like, and if they're not in, if it's not a close game, I mean, yeah, they had their blowouts, early in the season, and now you're getting the Georgia Southern by a point. You're getting Navy 15-0. You're getting 10-7. These are grinding. These are what Army football is all about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think clutch too. In the fourth quarter, when we really had to show up, I mean, we really kind of hung around, stuck in there. Defense was, I think, the key to the last 2 weeks. And it was a good old-fashioned fist fight. I think that Coach Monk had said, listen, if it's going to be up at the parking lot, the PX, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take care of business right here. And I think that we welcomed Air Force to reschedule the game after that cancellation, which really changed how we were trying to. Now, first of all, I think we had a monumental effort by our athletic director to even get a full slate of games and then to have cancellations throughout the period. So I think it was great, one, that Air Force was able to reschedule. But two is at the end of the year, it's the old, it's attrition plus the COVID losses, but still hanging around in the fourth quarter of our final game, deepest into December we've ever been at Mikey Stadium.
Yeah. Something I'd like to add that you were talking about earlier, Sal, is, again, these players are younger players. These players, playing the number 2, number 3 on the depth chart is their ability to step up and, take care of business and get the job done. So a number of players did that today. And that's obviously been done throughout the season at the quarterback position. Even hats off to, again, Buchanan. He looked like he busted a tire there, had a bad ankle or something was wrong with his running ability. But the kid he toughed it out mentally and said he's going to take care of business, and he got the job done. And again, I think that's part of the personality, the culture, and mindset of Army football players. And hats off to the coaches for everything that they've done and instilling that mindset to this day.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I hate to say it, but I think that's the most cardio Buchanan's seen in the academy.
Yeah.
Right.
Boys don't like cardio either.
Yeah, I mean, well, Van's a good athlete, and he's got some quickness that you don't really see, and to keep moving on that fourth down carry too, because he had gotten stopped a couple times, and I thought on the second down play, man, he went wide, and I'm like, how did he not get into the end zone on that play? It seemed like he had some room, and then you just run up the middle, you run up the middle the third time, and you're like, man. I was writing in the game story. Was this going to be a reversal of fortune? Was this going to be Army having the fourth and goal stand against Navy, but not getting through on the fourth down against Air Force that'll cost them the game? Well, it didn't happen. It all worked out. We have to, right fresh from the start, you talked about guys stepping up, Adrian. How about Cam Jones? Cam Jones, we haven't seen Cam Jones at corner the last couple games, and he has to play because I'm guessing, guys like, Bordeaux and McDuffie aren't available to play, and he comes up. That he threw in the coverage, Daniels, but he comes up with a big play from the start. And Army need to get off to a really solid start, at least defensively in this game, and that's what they got with that Cam Jones pick. So,
yep, agreed. It's I think that helps set the tone, and showed Air Force that this was our house and that our defense is here, and it made a statement. And again, the second pick that they had in the second half, again, same thing. It completely shut down and threw, I think, Air Force's mentality off. So, again, throughout the season, that defense has always been there, and that helped carry us into today's victory as well.
Seemed like Nate Woody. I mean, wow, that is the hire of the what? I mean, we're in 2020, so I guess we're starting a new decade. But I mean, that is a great hire, and maybe I've heard Coach Monken talk about how he's tried to get Nate Woody. This is like his third time he tried to get him as coach. So wow, I mean, it's really paid off, and it's just like there's not really a flinching to this defense. And you look at, we're sitting as they're celebrating with the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I'm sitting on the couch, and my wife's asking me. What are they looking like? We're already looking at next year already, and I'm like, man, they're a young team. They're not, other than the offensive line, there are not many seniors out there on this team. There's 2 starting seniors today on defense. It's crazy how, you're right, Adrian, how they develop these guys. I mean, it's just, and a lot of that stuff is coming on defense with the depth because they've needed it, right? They've needed it in the secondary at corner, and they needed it on the line because Bonzu's been in and out, and linebackers, Jeremiah Lowry. We didn't see Andre Carter today, who's really blossomed toward the end of the season. So I mean, man, it's incredible because, guys, you look at this. I call it a 2-game gauntlet, right? I mean, it was a 2-game gauntlet for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, and yes, both of their games were at home, but I thought that maybe the way it's set up favored Air Force because they only played 5 games, and they maybe didn't have the injuries that Army may have encountered in a 10-game season so far. But it didn't work out that way, So that was my take, but he spun it a different way. So,
well, in addition to that, Sal, I mean, after the Army-Navy game, and it is so emotional, and when you leave everything out on the field and realize that you have to also battle another service academy on top of that. We haven't seen this type of scenario ever. Right. And it's something Adrian and I didn't have to deal with, but I can recall being emotionally drained after the Navy game. And I think the greatest credit to get that coaching staff and keeping everybody back and the eyes on the prize and the ultimate in the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, them keeping every solid focus, 50 people down. And again, whether or not they started or not, it totally changed how they were able to practice, how they were able to prepare. So to me, I think it was a monumental effort by the coaching staff and certainly by the players that had to execute the plan to come back off of a draining win and a magical victory over our arch rival Navy, and to come back and have to play Air Force 7 days later. Pretty impressive.
Agreed.
Yeah, I look at they have they have the assistant coach of the year award nationally, right? And I'm looking like, how the heck did Nate Woody not get included in that? I mean, how is Sean Saturno has done a great job with the special teams, right?
Oh yeah,
They blocked 7 kicks. But where is Nate Woody on this list? You can't have multiple candidates from teams. I guess you can't probably, but if you could, I mean, he's definitely missing from that list. The Broyles Award. I'm like, what? I mean, it's incredible, and you have to give. You know what? You have to give Brent Davis and Cody Worley, the quarterbacks coach, a lot of credit too, because it seemed like they had Anderson ready. They had Anderson ready this week. Last week, it was Tahir the whole way, and for the last 2 games, he's taken all the snaps. So they had Christian Anderson ready, and man, you got to give him a lot of credit too in this game, guys. Don't you, for coming in and performing, and he didn't turn the ball over, and that's key in these games. He picked up that crucial fourth down on that game-winning drive. So.
Right, and I think that goes back to his but his the opportunities that he had to start earlier in the season. Gave him a little bit of comfort under the center. So again, stepped in, took care of business, and led the team to victory.
Kristen, and the fact that he stepped in the second quarter, it's almost like he stepped on it was the start of the game. He almost approached, he jumped on the field like he was a starter.
Right.
What was great about to me is I love the play calling up the middle. I love the follow. And really what it was is we're going to pound this down your throat. Mm-hmm. And what was good in that little changeup that I think Anderson gave was the ability to get outside, make those critical moves, and then, first downs. And he was calm. He was calm. He was in control. So it's that committee of quarterbacks. And again, Coach Worley, I think, has done a phenomenal job. The quarterback by committee, everybody was a starter. Anybody could have been starter. You had 5 quarterbacks that could have interchanged and easily started that game, and I think been as effective as the other. And just a phenomenal job by 2 quarterbacks. Early, we got the thing moving right up the gut. And an unfortunate, contact injury, a helmet-to-helmet contact, transferred right over, and it was like we didn't miss a beat. It was perfect.
I do not know how a penalty was not called on that play. I don't know how a penalty was not called on that play. I get it. It's an option offense, but I mean, he led with his helmet. I mean, I just don't get how that guy's still making tackles in the second half, and having an effect on the game where, I'm not sure I'm not sure. I know, you could say all you want about the targeting rule, right? And that how should the players be ejected for a hit, that, sometimes it's a reaction. Sometimes it's a reaction, but man, I don't know. I mean, I thought that should have been flagged, and it cost Army their quarterback, their starting quarterback. Now, if this is any other year, who knows where they would be? If this was a year where it was a Bradshaw year, right? And then Bradshaw's your starter every game. Who knows how it went? But this year, everything we talked about it. Everything just seems to fall in place. Guys step up and play their roles pretty well. And you look at today. You look like I looked at that before that drive, right before the game-winning drive. I think it was a 3. I think it was a 3 and out. And I'm like, what the heck? What the heck was it? Third down play, fullback on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 7. Why is not Terrell Robinson getting the ball on the out? Yeah. Why are we running the fastest player on our team up the middle? Because he's gonna find a hole and break one? No, you got to get him to the outside. And I thought that finally, when they got him to the outside, at least you get Air Force's defense thinking a little bit, right? Yeah. And then you throw the Christian Anderson at him too. It's not going to be. They can't really stack the middle so much, and maybe it separates a little bit to at least give a little bit of variety to the offense. I get it. We're a fullback. Army is a fullback-driven offense. I get it, but sometimes I'm like, come on, let's get you have these guys at slot back for a reason to make plays, and when they used Robinson, he got the job done. So I mean, yeah, they didn't have to throw the ball much, and it's a pretty much a grinded game to begin with. I get it. So
did he just have? If I may ask questions, Sal, did he just have that one run? If I remember correctly. Robinson touched the ball more than that.
I think
he had 4 carries. The first 3 were up the gut, up the middle. Just kind of a misdirection type of deal. And I don't know. I mean, I just don't. And then that pass. I mean, Anderson was just throwing the ball away basically when he caught that pass, and he tried to make something out of it, but he had the sideline against him, right? So I mean, he got nothing out of that pass. But man, I mean, look at last week against Navy when they threw the ball to him, right? I get it. I thought maybe when the offense was struggling a little bit, early second half, put the ball in the air. I get it. I mean, you have guys who have been in and out of the lineup at wide receiver, and you know what? To be honest with you, I thought Tahir's pass on that pop pass, that was a tough play. It was a little bit behind Chris Cameron, but I thought he was going to come down with that. I thought he was going to come down with that play, So.
And in this game too, I mean, you got to score touchdowns. I think it looked a little bit like he did try and throw it in a hole where he was, and where he was going to. He had to kind of somewhat throw him open into a spot. It would have been a tough catch, but that was pretty. That was a tough one right there to let that one slip away because touchdowns weren't going to come at a premium today. And as far as the rhythm is, we're not throwing the ball, and obviously everybody was, we're stacked up in the box. And the fact, I think it was a great play call he was open is really the bottom line. Yeah. And and again, it's back to your point on Robinson is I like to see Robinson in open space. Yeah. I like to see him one-on-one. We've seen him in multiple times where he's gone one-on-one, and there's just been defenders' shoes left on the field because he is so good one-on-one. I mean, early in the season where he's running a reverse and broke the guy's heart. I mean, a defender's heart, had him dead to rights, and poof, and he's gone. I think he's going to be a very special talent in the future.
I think you saw that a little bit in Tyler today when he could get to the outside. Maybe the Navy defenders were just slow, but it looked like they were going to have a beat on Tyler, and he just got to the edge faster than the Navy defenders and was able to get some yardage. And I think it's a little bit different this offense. Yeah, it's to grind it out, but you have the guys who are your chunk guys in this offense, right? I mean, to me, it's Robinson and Tyler right now. I mean, those are your chunk guys. I mean, so you try to get him. And Tyler, granted, he did run a lot when he was in the game. It seemed like it was, mostly his show early on. And man, I mean, what more can we really say about this performance? Now the Commander-in-Chief's trophy comes back to West Point, and now they await. I guess tomorrow they'll announce the bowl game opponent. Independence Bowl, quick turnaround again, right, guys? I mean, you're going to have – I'm not sure. I think they probably would leave like maybe on a Tuesday to go down to Shreveport. So you might get like, one practice or two practices in at West Point, and then you're off. I guess it'll be warmer weather down there maybe. I don't know. But, it looks like – can this be their third 10-win season in 4 years? They're 1 win away. It's crazy.
I think it can. And there's a couple aspects to that. One, if the Pac-12 – heard rumblings about the Pac-12 potentially not participating in the Independence Bowl. That hasn't been verified. So realistically, as one of the teams that we're looking out for is Arizona State. Arizona State doesn't play the triple option. I think that's obviously advantage Army. Arizona State looked very impressive offensively against Arizona team, putting up 70 points, and it wasn't even close in their rivalry game. But on the other side of that is they're going to be rested. They're going to be, healthy, anticipating that type of matchup. To me, is my recommendation is all the finals are done for the cadets.
Exactly.
Get into Louisiana as fast as possible and get your game and bowl legs on as soon as possible.
Yeah, I was just going to add that same thing, Zop, in regards to not having the stress of term ends and the other cadets around and all the military requirements that are that might be lingering. So that's all out of the way. All they have to do is focus on practice, film, and rest, and they should be ready to rock and roll. My mindset, bring on any team in this country. We've shown that we can hang, and I'm sure they'll do that, in this bowl game.
Man, my stepson's a recent Coastal Carolina grad, and I so wanted to see I want the Army coach. We're going to get that in a couple of years. I think in 2022 they're going to play each other, and that was a game that Army signed on for, thinking, okay, Coastal's going to start their program. a couple years back. Let's get some games with Coastal. Well, I don't know if you want to play those guys right now. They open, I think, the 2022 season at Coastal. I think I could be wrong, but man, that's not a game you want to play right now. I mean, so I want to see Army and Coastal in the bowl game. That's not going to happen. Coastal couldn't even play their Sun Belt championship game today, but man, I just like to see a different matchup. To me, the bowl tie-ins, yeah, you got to have one. I guess your Army, because you're independent, right? You got to have a bowl tie-in, and it's like, I don't know, between us guys, Arizona State doesn't do much for me. So I mean, it just doesn't. That game doesn't do much for me as far as basing a little bit. I know that they're not going to get, I guess, a top 25 team. And what is a top 25 team anyway in 2020, right? Because there's some teams are playing 10 games, some teams are playing 5, and so. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Jim. Maybe it will be a good game and a challenge, because if Arizona State can score points, then we'll see how this Army defense can finish the season strong or not.
To me, it was definitely a bounce back year. I think Coach Edwards done a great job at Arizona State. I think realistically, I was more excited, more so from a conference standpoint. Playing against a Power 5 conference in any bowl game is pretty exciting as it is. So I think leaning into that, and sure, I'm speculating about Arizona State. But on the other side of that is, if for some reason the rumors do come true, Pac-12 does potentially step out, you could get a hometown game with a really good team in Louisiana. So they didn't play the championship, and I'm not sure how that's all going to play out.
Yeah, who knows?
As far as rankings-wise, Coastal is ahead of Louisiana. It'd be great to see Louisiana down there, and that is a good football team. So, if you want to be the best, let's go take them on.
Exactly.
Yeah, we mentioned a lot about this game, and just for the whole season, right? I mean, this has just been. We've talked about it. They've gone where we're not even sure they're going to have it, scheduled. They lost all their games. They did a good job of replacing all their games. They get really right. They get for scheduling 3 FCS teams. They received some flack for that, but I mean, you got to fill your schedule, and they were able to do it. And now, I mean, we might look back on this season and say this, to me, this season is a pleasant surprise. That's how I would describe it so far. I mean, maybe even better than that, because now you have the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I feel really good about it personally. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That is something, regardless if you have 6 games under your belt or 11 games, total played during the season, those are games you just don't pass on. And that Commander-in-Chief's trophy for us is so important. Right. And it has been one of those priorities. One is always beat Navy. And then 2 is that Commander-in-Chief trophy is so special. And the fact that we're winning it 3 out of the last 4 years has really shown that positive momentum that Coach Monken has brought in. It is so, for my opportunity to get that Commander-in-Chief's trophy, that slipped through the fingers. Adrian and I played together, and we had a really, really good opportunity, a good football team leading into the 95 campaign. Now the 25th anniversary of the 99-yard drive against Navy. Those are the things that we'll never forget. And, you look back in some of the regrets and where you may have had that opportunity to get that Commander-in-Chief trophy. That's one that kind of still stings to this day.
Yeah, agreed, Zop. Again, losing to Air Force when we were there, unfortunately not having an opportunity to beat them while we were there through the 92 through 95 seasons. And, future generations and their ability to beat Air Force now, it means a lot, especially for the older grads who never had that opportunity. And I think even then, and Zop, I'm sure you'd agree, we had a little bit more passion, not a little, we had a lot more passion for wanting to beat Air Force because of the streak that they had on us. We beat Navy all 4 years. We're proud of that. But beating Air Force back then meant a whole lot more. And seeing what the team and the coaches are producing now, the fact that we can actually bring home and claim the CIC on an almost annual basis is huge. It pays dividends, and it's going to, I think what the coaches have, in addition to recruiting, we got a great product here at Army West Point.
Adrian, too, is the fact that, we do feel a little bit, I think, a great pride in the fact that we did finally break the streak and the teammates we played with. the 96 campaign is where we did lock up that Commander-in-Chief trophy with that win at West Point. And it was one of those days that I'll never forget, is seeing our seniors, going out as Adrian and I were lieutenants, I know tuned in from, points afar, and just really tuned into that game, and to watch our teammates the year prior close the deal, finish up Air Force, and win Commander-in-Chief trophy. That was really, really special.
There's not really a program in the country like Army when it comes to that, the pride of the football brotherhood, right? The grads, and for you guys to see the program succeed after, we don't want to go into it in depth, but there were, Jeff Monken's really, he's changed the trajectory of this program, no doubt. You thought last year maybe they were going to take it, they took a step back, but man, they bounced right back. And, again, not working with much in the lines of returning, losing a lot of talent from a 5-8 team, and having to really, and not being able to, do too much off-season work. And bam, I mean, just it is amazing. I think we would be remiss, couple things. We'll just remiss of not talking about Eric Smith's performance in this game. Eric had the ball, and also Kalbina Bonzu. I mean, Bonzu didn't get a chance to play last week. He I don't know. He just missed the game. I don't know if it was injury related or not, but he definitely was a factor this game. He I don't know if he didn't start, but he definitely made his presence known physically. They showed I remember them showing a highlight of him, tossing around a 315-pound, quote, All-American guard. So I mean,
conference.
Maybe, I don't know. All-American? I don't know. I haven't checked the All-American list lately. But I mean, man, his presence was felt. I mean, they didn't have Ryan Duran today, and it didn't matter because Bonzu, they rotate the defensive line well, and maybe you didn't hear Cockrell or Amadeo West's name as much today, but that meant they were doing their job. That meant they were holding their blocks and they were letting the other guys make the plays, right? I mean, that's the game that's how I look at it. So.
That points out with the defense, and honestly, is everybody doing their job. The one play that was most indicative of that, where you had Caden Remsburg try to pull the reversal of field in the back, and you saw everybody holding their lane.
They said
And honestly, to me, that was beautiful defense.
Yeah.
Everybody moving to the ball and everybody maintaining their discipline. Great tackling angles. For a critical 3-yard loss.
Great point. I tried to take that play off the TV onto my phone. And I still had the subtitles up on my TV, so I was gonna put it up, and I was gonna say how to defend the option 101 on that play. Right? I mean, that was it. That was everybody. You're right. Absolutely, dude. That was like, man. I think that sometimes they're doing these Zoom meetings. These coaches, if you want to show how to defend the option, you show that play 10 times in a row. To other like high school teams or whatever, younger. This is how you just show that constantly. Great point. We'll close it out here, and we'll put you guys on the spot a little bit. Who you think the game MVP? Who would you give your game ball to this game?
Well, I yield to the fine gentleman out there in the greater DC area. Adrian, go ahead.
So I'll say Buchanan. Again, he showed a lot of guts playing injured at that particular time. What was it, 4th and a yard, 4th and 2, and coach said, "Hey, it's your responsibility. Let's do this." And that O-line as well. That was a great drive and a great way to finish it off, and said, "This is our house. Air Force, take your butts out of here and go home. We got the CIC this year."
Yeah, Adrian, I'm going to have to agree with you. It was the Fat Man Club. Okay, those big guys up front. Is 25 years ago, our last memory of being an Army football player was 99 yards and over 8-minute drive to beat Navy 14-13 in one of the most memorable games that I've ever played in. And it was all because we had guys like Joel Davis, Eddie Stover, Bill Blair, Mike Wells. Our classmates were the ones that paved 99 yards to victory It will always go down as the drive. And again, as the 25th anniversary, it couldn't have been more special for our fat men worldwide watching this. To see our fat men of 2020 show up and have the drive of their own.
And don't forget John Graves on that catch either.
Johnny Graves, but to me, he's way too skinny to be considered with the MVPs of today, the fat men.
So you give it to the offensive line, right?
Offensive line, hands down, clutch, absolutely clutch. The big uglies showed up when they had to. And again, in the first three quarters, drive, and they seemed to just stall out and didn't have that little bit extra. And when they really needed it, when they were tired, after a turnover, that magnificent drive that not only scored the game-winning touchdown, but ate up enough clock, forced Air Force to call all three timeouts, which I think really forced them to press a little bit, a deflected interception into the arms of Eric Smith, who played an awesome game. Eric and Johnny inside, I think, were runners-up for defensive players of the game for sure.
Yeah, if I can continue, Sal, if we have a little bit more time.
Yep, go ahead.
Again, if I can give a number two, the defense itself overall, just an outstanding job throughout the game. And even when Air Force had that one drive where they aired it out, they came back, tightened up. The turnovers were huge momentum changers for the game. And what the defense has been demonstrating all season long is just relentless pursuit and trying to control the mentality of the game.
Yeah, when I put it out last week for the Navy game, a lot of people were saying just give it to the whole defense, right?
Yeah.
But I'll go off the board and I'll go Bonzu just because we didn't know what we were going to get out of him today. I knew he was coming back, but how would he would affect the game, and I thought he affected the game. He gave the defensive line a little bit more of an attitude there, and the tip pass there basically seals the game. I'll go off the board with Bonzu. I want to mention one more thing before we go off. I'll probably say that one more time before we're done. But how about at the end of the first half? And you look at so much of what Jeff Monken does is based on analytics, right? Or so they say is based on analytics. And the fact that Troy Calhoun let the clock run and not go for try to take the points on that field goal there instead of going for it. I joked around on Twitter and said I guess he's not a big fan of the analytics because that's more of an old school approach there to me, which sometimes that's how I look at things too. But he was playing for points there, and maybe that's a chance that maybe it's weird they didn't take the chance there, right? But they took the chance on that 2nd and 2 to throw the ball down the field, right? Right, Jim, like we said. I don't know. They could have played conservatively there and maybe took a chance at the end of the first half. I don't know. I was texting back and forth with an Army fan after the game, and they were saying that Monken out-coached Calhoun today.
I agree. I think his aggressiveness, first of all, is analytics. You stay true to form. I think smash mouth football. I think that, the way that we went for it. So we did get stopped on a 4th down, but he kept that aggressive nature of it. I think where Coach Calhoun may have been kicking field goals is he had pretty high confidence coming off of a mopping up of Utah State last game. I think that they were anticipating scoring more. I don't think they anticipated 3 interceptions. That's for sure. But on the other side of that is I think they kicked field goals and we're saying, okay, we can score points now because I think we're going to get in the end zone later. Mistake, clearly a mistake at the end, and you look at it hindsight. And again, I think the more aggressive nature of, the way that we approach the game, I think as far as does get in the win category for coaching for Coach Monken.
No doubt. Guys, it's been a pleasure. This has been fun. And, we have one more game to go this season, right? So, it's not over. Now, usually, it's Navy and then the bowl game, and now we got Air Force in between Navy and a bowl game. It's 2020. We get it. So, but this has been a great ride, and I really appreciate your guys' insight and also your stories going into the past of Army football too. Those are always, I always love hearing those. So, we appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for all your time and thanks for what you do covering Army football so special. You've done a phenomenal job. And anytime I get a chance to spend time with my brothers like Adrian Kalam is always a great win for me.
Awesome. We're going to sign off here from the Black Knight Nation post game. Army wins 10-7 and claims the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. Have a good night.